So the first question was, how can or do you have a positive impact on people's financial lives? So starting with the group over here, I guess, Sarah, you're going to be speaking.
So the first question was, how can or do you have a positive impact on people's lives financially? And we, instead of discussing the answers to the question, we went around and shared our story as quickly as humanly possible in order to understand a little bit about how we were able to answer this question on a personal level. And as a group, we discovered that all of us were able to provide hope and resources and a new sense of purpose to our readers, our listeners, and the foundations that we participate in, which I thought was really an interesting way to take on this question, especially because we all really want to focus more on sharing our own stories. So, yeah.
So for group 2, I'll just lay it down this way. Hold on. So we added then that sharing our information and pretty much intellectual property is a big way for us to contribute. Advocating and engaging, and volunteering and donating time and resources to organizations and groups then that we feel passionate about and connected with.
So can you hear me? Are we good? Okay, cool. So for number 1, we just got together and we talked about ourselves and what we do. So one of us teaches about financial literacy, another one helps scholarships, another one helps remove barriers in homes to help parents successfully raise their kids. And then another person does blog and shares interviews with other people who have gotten out of debt and helps them share their own personal experiences. I hope I said that right. And then we have a graphic designer who isn't just a graphic designer, he is a business builder. Oh, that's deep, right? You weren't expecting that. Throwing that out there.
Prompt is, what obstacles stand in the way of your impact being as successful as possible?
So we had a very interesting, perspective on the answering this question. It came in the form of technology as a barrier to those who don't have access to it, and it's also a barrier to those who have too much access to it. Jacob came up with the term information overload, which is a huge, huge problem. It is not a good thing. It is a barrier in people understanding and finding the right resources for them. And I think that for us as bloggers and media individuals within the finance community, it's our job and responsibility to help people identify the right resources for them and source the right things to their circumstances in their lives. We also discussed how, there's sometimes an inability to perform and find easy to understand and trustworthy resources. And sometimes it's our own understanding of self-worth that is a barrier to our ability to overcome our own circumstances, whether they be financial or otherwise.
So the obstacles that we came across in group 2 were, 1, time. Either just not enough time because you're pulled in so many other responsibilities, or just in creating what you're creating with your business. So time was definitely a big factor that we discussed. Also, and what I loved with this statement was tech barriers to reach people where they are at. So it's great that you've got all these technological advances, right? You've got this blog, you've got this vlog, you've got everything that you can to communicate, but are you really reaching those people that really need the information? And how do you do that? It's difficult. And we had a great conversation about what that could look like and what that is being like when you just can't reach the right audience. Then we talked about access. Really, how do you help people get access to this information? And also education. Same point of there's education overload, but are you really speaking to the right people regarding this information?
We also talked about, can you hear me? We're good? Okay, so we talked about access as well. Brent was sharing an experience with Tomorrow We Vote, even though they're nonpartisan and they're everybody knows that, and that's how they're registered, and that's in all their material. A lot of school districts won't let them in because they have it in their head that it's already being a service offered. And so that is a lot of stuff that people deal with. Also, what came up a lot for us was sometimes you can't relate to certain situations that people go through, and then you feel guilty because you don't really have like their point of view, or you can't really relate to it. So it just makes it like difficult sometimes to work with certain people, and that's like that's no fault of their own. And you feel guilty because you don't know what they're going through. So there's one thing we talked about.
What can you do as producers, for those of you who are bloggers or vloggers or podcasters, and those of you who are audience members, please, I'm sure you contributed to this as well. What can you do to help your audience overcome obstacles?
Again, it's all about telling a story and exposing low-income individuals and families to stories that are applicable to them and their family. Like Athena's story is so incredibly applicable to the majority of the population here in Arizona, because we all are coming from another state where we're escaping that poverty lifestyle and trying to overcome those financial circumstances we found ourselves in. We had an idea as to how to do this. So when it comes to youth more specifically, because that tends to be the central idea around talking about overcoming financial struggles, is talking to youth, is instead reaching out to their parents and their family and finding out why they have to work 3 or 4 jobs and leave their son or daughter at home taking care of their children for them, and having a family night where you sit down with the family and discuss different issues with that family specifically. For me as a social media marketer, like I don't write about finance. I promote people who write about finance, basically. And we take a look at how to create a strategy that is specific to that financial blogger, that helps them reach the people they really need to reach and the people that are actually interested in their message. And that's exactly what we need to be doing when we talk about how to help some of these families come out of debt. It's not an individual issue, it is a familial issue, and it has to be addressed with every individual in the family as opposed to just that one person.
I'm just going to add real quick, as we're talking about overcoming obstacles, we're specifically talking about money, but money touches every part of everyone's lives. It's just what is happening with money is just a symptom of everything else. And so when you're overcoming an obstacle, you're not just overcoming a money obstacle. It's not a math problem. It's a lot more than that. And so it's addressing, the root cause and everything else that's involved with that. So it's much more than just, figuring out 2 + 2 and moving on from there.
I have one more thing to say. Okay, so everyone knows J.D. Roth, right? Get Rich Slowly. He said something to me on the phone the other day that was really profound. It's not about addressing like how to budget or giving them like the step-by-step process of getting out of debt. It's helping them overcome the mental and psychological issues going on with them and their relationship with money. Good job, J.D. Roth.
Okay, some of the ideas that we came up with was, first of all, contacting schools. And starting with elementary schools, like just reaching out to the schools and finding out, hey, do your student body need this? Does your population need this? Do your teachers need this information? Just already reaching out to them. And I think we even discussed like the different parent groups too within the school districts about, hey, this is information I have and I can be able to provide this for you. How can I do it? Next would be connecting with existing organizations that are doing a great job with connecting with those communities. So it's just reaching out to them and offering your services of what you can provide. And again, all the great information that you have. Getting out of the echo chamber. I liked that a lot. And it's just getting it out there, just spreading the word and spreading the wealth of information. And also then education also plays into this. Again, messaging the right education, getting that right education out to the right people that need it.
I've never heard of J.D. Roth before. I have no idea who he is. I'm just saying. Tell J.D. that too. Anyways, so I had the other half of the Tomorrow We Vote team, and they also said to find other people who communicate it better. And so Brent said, if there's this population and people are talking to them and they're having like better luck addressing them or better luck working with them, talk to them, get them involved into what you're trying to do, because obviously they're doing something different than you and they probably have a lot more knowledge to share. We also discussed providing more resources and working on our language to make stuff that's more relatable. And so, we had talked about don't talk about ETFs and index funds if people don't even know what investing is. And then we also talked about working on getting access to people and just kind of getting there, and then also letting them know that you are there. So people are like, well, you're busy, you don't care. And I'm guilty of that too. I don't ask for help until I'm like, I'm sick and I need help. But and Jenniemarie talked about that. Sometimes it's kind of like a pride thing, but just let people know, hey, I am available, and if you need to talk, I am here. And sometimes they won't take you up on it, and you might get one or two people that are like, you know what, I really need to talk about this. How can you help me? Or what can I do? Do you have any advice for me? That kind of thing.
What we got out of today was about making an impact on people that you may not have thought you've been able to make an impact on before. And that's really important for all of us as bloggers, podcasters, whatever it is that we put out there. I think it's a really great discussion tonight. I want to just quickly close again. First of all, Plutus Voices, this is brand new. This is really the second event that we've ever done. If you like it, if you like the idea, we'd love to hear your feedback. If you didn't like it, we want to know, the details, because we want this to continue. We want to be able to go to different cities and put this on as a service to our community, all the bloggers out there, all the podcasters, and everybody who puts financial information online. We want them to find the Plutus Voices as a great resource. So your feedback is incredibly important, so please, talk to me afterwards. We wouldn't have been able to put this together, number one, without the help from Kathleen, who sponsored this through Dabble Media. Please thank her. And I do want to thank all of our speakers again. Thank you for being here. You added so much to the discussion. I want to thank Charlotte as well for managing this project. We have lots of phone calls. We are constantly talking to each other, planning this, and as well as other things that we do under the Plutus Foundation. And Athena as well, I want to thank you for being involved with the Plutus Foundation and everything that we do and planning this event. And Sarah, thank you for hosting us. We do have something for you here from the rest of the Plutus Foundation team.
It's a cactus.
Okay. No, but I want to say something about Sarah. Sarah's like, I only do social media management for other personal finance people. But Sarah, I don't know if you still do it, but she had a nonprofit for single moms, and she used to do get-togethers. And I remember one time she had cookies, a cookie party, and you could bring a book, and she'd give it to single moms and kids in hospitals. See? And the other thing Sarah did was she got a mechanic to donate his services. So if you were a single mom and you needed car work, you could go to him and he'd help you for free. So you do a lot more than just manage social media.
I have 12 businesses.
You don't have to dig deep to find out that this community that we have is just so full of people who are giving and generous and want to make the world a better place in their small community or on their website, reaching a broad audience. The amount of heart is just incredible, and I'm thankful that I can be a part of it as well.